There are a lot of updates and changes that are making Disney World totally different right now, you guys, and we've got a few that I think will surprise you a little bit. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Okay, so you're thinking about heading to Disney World in 2020. A lot of our tried and true tips, tricks, and ways of visiting the parks have completely changed this year. We are making recommendations we never thought we'd make before. So you're going to need to plan ahead. And these are 7 big updates that are definitely going to change your next Disney trip. Some of them are expected, some of them are surprising. So we're going to go over all of them and how to deal with them and how to manage them on your trip. Okay, number 1 is that no Disney dining plan exists right now. So some people count on that dining plan to make their trip simpler. It's basically a way to prepay for all your snacks and meals while you're in Disney World. You get these dining credits, you exchange them for snacks and for actual restaurant meals, but for the time being, it's gone. We're not sure when it's coming back. So Disney decided to temporarily pause the dining plan because many restaurants aren't open right now, and some are operating very differently. They're limited capacity. They don't have the menus they had before. Like, for example, Be Our Guest is now only a prefix meal for lunch and dinner. There's no counter service anywhere at Be Our Guest, and it's not open for breakfast anymore. Chef Mickey's doesn't have characters. There are only 2 character meals on property at all, Garden Grill at Epcot and Topolino's Terrace at Riviera Resort. So you're going to be paying for everything out of pocket for all of your meals. And you're going to want to spend some time focusing on your food budget. So check what's open first, then plan where you might want to eat and budget things out from there. If you need some help getting started picking restaurants or figuring out how much to plan to spend on snacks and lunch each day, pick up a copy of our DFB Guide to Disney World Dining. We've got years and years of tips and advice and reviews in there, including the latest updates on how to save and plan without the dining plan. You can pick up the ebook over at thedfbstore.com. Don't forget to use promo code YouTube to get a discount on that guide or any of our snack and festival or event guides as well. Now, you can always pack your own snacks to save some extra cash. You can always bring your own food and non-alcoholic drinks into the parks. Always be on the lookout for Loyalty Club discounts too. You're going to find these for several restaurants in Disney Springs, at Sprinkles Cupcakes, Earl of Sandwich, Rainforest Cafe, T-Rex. And if you're a DVC member, annual pass holder, or Disney Visa card holder, be sure to check into what discounts and incentives they may be running right now for you as well. But I think the number 1 tip there for the no Disney dining plan situation is make sure you know which restaurants are going to be open. Sometimes it's actually pretty surprising. Ohana's not open right now. Why? I have no idea, but Ohana is not open. So there are some that you wouldn't expect to be open and some that you are kind of annoyed are closed. We've got the full lists on DisneyFoodBlog.com, all the restaurants that are currently opening, so you can check that out and make sure that you've got the plans ready to go when you head to Disney World. Also note that in order to dine at a restaurant right now, you pretty much have to have a dining reservation in order to dine at a table service restaurant. So if you want to get into a resort hotel to dine at a restaurant, you need that dining reservation. You can't really just walk up. And same thing in the parks. In order to dine at a table service restaurant in the parks, you need a dining reservation. Now, as always, that could vary. Disney could change that requirement before you go. And it could be a situation where you walk up and a cast member happens to say, sure, you can come in. You know, there's nobody in here right now. But Disney's official policy is that you need a dining reservation to dine at any table service restaurant at the moment. So even though you can be spontaneous now with your rides because there's no fast pass, table service restaurants have actually gotten stricter. They have actually developed stricter rules as to who can get in. Okay, second big update that's going to change your trip. Characters are super, super different right now. The characters themselves are different, but how you see them is different. So you won't be lining up to have your picture taken with Mickey in the foreseeable future now, but that doesn't mean you won't see him in the parks. Each Disney World park has some form of character cavalcade. They call them cavalcades or they call them experiences, whatever they call them, anything except meet and greets and parades. Now in Magic Kingdom, there are several with Mickey and Friends, the princesses, Winnie the Pooh, and Tinkerbell, and a few more. Gaston is in there. And those basically look like parades, even though they're not parades. So you'll see Mickey and his friends on a float coming down Main Street, or Tinkerbell is up on that giant treasure chest, which I think is a float from one of the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party or Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party parades. And so that's kind of the experience you'll have. You'll see Gaston riding a horse down the street, or Merida is on a horse riding down the street. So lots of different experiences, but they call them cavalcades. So that's kind of the vibe you're going to get. And those will happen every, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Somebody's going to be coming through Frontierland, doing the parade route from Frontierland around the hub and over down Main Street USA, going into the Main Street USA barn. That's where it's going to end. So that's sort of what you're going to see as far as characters in Magic Kingdom. In Animal Kingdom, keep an eye on the rivers as characters are cruising around the park on boats over there. So you'll see Pocahontas and Meeko. You will see Dino Bash Donald there on the boats. You'll see the Streetmosphere drummers on a boat. So that's where you're going to see characters in Animal Kingdom, is on those boats. In Hollywood Studios, you're going to see characters on cars. So if anybody remembers that parade from forever ago, the motorcade parade, where you basically saw a bunch of characters that were sitting in cars that were designed to look like them, that's kind of what you're getting in Hollywood Studios right now, is motorcades. So you'll see Disney Junior characters, Toy Story characters, Mickey and Minnie riding in the streets in cars. And in Epcot, you're going to catch a Frozen cavalcade, Princess cavalcade, or Mickey and Friends cavalcade, which means you're going to see Anna and Elsa wandering the World Showcase in their little mini parade. You'll see Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and all their buddies in a little mini parade. The princesses also do a little mini parade in kind of a trolley kind of thing. So that's what you're going to see in Epcot. Now, there are also characters on stages throughout the park. So you're going to see Captain Jack or Buzz Lightyear in Magic Kingdom, plus the stepsisters from Cinderella hang out at the back of the castle on the balcony. And those characters are able to interact with you and talk to you. So that's kind of fun because they're not in a parade or a cavalcade where they're going by you. They're just standing there interacting with people. So that's fun to have a conversation with them there. And there are a few characters tucked away in Epcot too. Both Alice in Wonderland and Mary Poppins can be seen in the UK Pavilion. And Winnie the Pooh and Joy hang out in a field near the Imagination Pavilion. So they're socially distanced from the guests, but guests can sort of talk to them and interact with them as well. Now, there are no autographs or hugs. Socially distant selfies are okay, though. And there are also no listed times to keep crowds from gathering, so keep your ears open. Music is going to change and get louder when the characters are about to appear. So that's kind of how you know they're coming. The cavalcades run pretty frequently. Like I said, I feel like I'm constantly seeing characters coming through Frontierland and down Main Street over there in Magic Kingdom. So you shouldn't have too much trouble seeing all of them if you're in the park for a good, 3 or 4 hours. But if you want to get a little closer to Mickey, consider one of those character meals that's running right now. Garden Grill, Topolino's Terrace. They both have Mickey doing kind of socially distanced tours through the restaurant. Okay, next big update that's going to change your Disney trip. You can't go in quick service restaurants without mobile ordering. Now, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it's a very strong suggestion. They can't keep you from going in and ordering food without mobile ordering. You are allowed to do that, but a cast member is stationed outside and is going to ask you if you mobile ordered and if your food is ready before you go inside. So it is definitely a very strong suggestion from Disney right now to mobile order and wait outside until your food is ready before you go into the restaurant. But if you do have an allergy or if you're only paying with cash, you can go inside and order inside as well. Another reason to go inside the counter service restaurant to grab a cup of water. You can definitely grab those free cups of water in the restaurants. Just ask a cast member outside. They'll tell you exactly where to go to get yours. Quick service spots are usually great places to duck out of the rain or heat as well. But again, you're gonna need to do that mobile ordering. You're gonna need to go through kind of the cast member barricade to get in there. So just a heads up there that this might not be the best place to go escape the heat or the rain currently. Okay, next big update that's going to change your next Disney trip: menu changes. Lots of restaurants and snack locations have shortened their menus right now, and that means you can't get a few of your favorites. We were really, really sad when we realized we couldn't get the goat cheese ravioli over at California Grill. Can't get those Flame Tree barbecue pulled pork and cheese fries, although we hear they're coming back soon, so that would be awesome. But there are a few favorites that aren't on the menus at the moment. Another one to note is that Be Our Guest has gotten rid of their breakfast offering, which we mentioned before. Now, that wasn't our favorite. In fact, it was not worth the money at all, but it was a decent deal if you were using the dining plan. Now, lunch is no longer a la carte. but the same as the dinner option, which is pretty expensive, $62 per adult, $37 per kid. So you're not going into Be Our Guest restaurant unless you're dropping $62. Another thing that's conspicuously missing right now are the different varieties of Dole Whip. Our favorite Kakamora float with that coconut Dole Whip is gone from Aloha Isle. Other specialty floats are off the menu at Sunshine Tree Terrace and Storybook Treats. So there are definitely some missing things. So you're going to want to be prepared for that. And many restaurants around property have shortened their menus. They could change day to day though due to supply issues. So be sure to check those menus leading up to your reservation so you know ahead of time if there's nothing you want to eat at that restaurant. Okay, next big thing that's going to change your Disney trip. This is probably the biggest thing, honestly, that's going to change your Disney trip. Park hopping doesn't exist. So if you're a see how much you can fit in one day at Disney type person, you're going to have to scale it back for your next trip, which can be good and bad. I mean, it's really nice to sort of be forced to relax a little bit when you're at Disney World because the park hours are limited and you can't park hop. So you're going to have to take some time in the pool, or you're going to have to go and relax and have a nice restaurant meal or something because you just can't do parks from like 6 a.m. to midnight anymore. And with that whole park hopping thing, you can only go to one park per day unless you're willing to shell out some major dough for a private VIP tour. Currently, that's one of the only ways to visit more than one park per day. So it starts at over $3,000, and it's likely a bit too much of a splurge for most people. But if a VIP tour is in your budget, then that's one way to park hop. While you don't need to worry about getting up early to snag all of your FastPass reservations right now, you will need to plan out which park you're going to on which days pretty far in advance. Capacity in the parks is limited and days can sell out, especially if you're an annual pass holder. Park passes are divided by group, those with resort reservations, annual pass holders, and then all other ticket holders. Those are the three groups that you can be in to get your park passes, and the entire number of available reservations are divvied up into those categories. You can make park reservations for each day of your ticket or for annual pass holders up to 3 days in addition to the days you have a resort reservation. You can make Park Pass reservations through September 26, 2021, so you could decide on your Magic Kingdom day over a year in advance. You can cancel these reservations. There currently is not a way to modify them, so if you need to switch your day, just cancel and rebook to another day. But be sure to check that availability calendar so you know that there's availability for the park you want to go to if you're going to cancel and rebook. All right, next big update that's going to change your Disney trip. You can't walk and eat. Disney put in place a new rule recently that asks all guests to be stationary and socially distanced when taking a drink or a bite of a snack. So no more walking around and sipping water or eating Mickey bars. Pull over somewhere safe and lower your mask if you want to eat anything. This is different from what we were told when Disney Springs first opened and even when the parks first opened, showing that the rules and policies can be updated and they can change at any time. So be aware of the current rules when you go to the parks because they may change on you. There are teams of cast members around to enforce that rule, and we are seeing it happening regularly, you guys. Like, cast members are actually telling people when they purchase, for instance, a Mickey pretzel, hey, remember, you can't walk around and eat that. You have to go sit somewhere or you have to go stand off to the side, socially distanced, in order to eat it. So there are several relaxation areas in the park where you can take down your mask. These are good spots to go with your snacks or to get a break from wearing your mask. So just check a map to see where they are. Some are outside, some are inside. So if you're craving some AC, head to Storybook Circus in Magic Kingdom, Star Wars Launch Bay in Hollywood Studios, Akershus in Epcot, and Pizzafari in Animal Kingdom. Those are the indoor relaxation stations in those parks. And the last big update that's going to change your next Disney trip, you might not want to rope drop the parks right now. So transportation doesn't start running very far in advance anymore, and most parks are holding to their official opening times. So you really can't get to the parks too early, and even if you do, you may just be hanging out front until they let you in, or riding on the monorail until they let you off, because Disney doesn't want large groups forming, and so they have been known to turn people away from the toll plazas so they can't even get into park until it's close to opening time, because they don't want large groups of people just sort of crowding the gates before the park officially opens. And what we're seeing right now is that since a lot of people want to get in first thing in the morning, there's a lot of waiting. So especially to get on Disney transportation, we've seen 4 monorails go by that are full up because of course they're limited capacity. So if you are traveling early in the morning to get to a park opening, it's going to take a lot longer than it would just even an hour later. And remember, we've regularly seen wait times go down as the day goes on. Each of the parks is open for 10 hours right now, and it likely won't take you a full 10 hours to do everything you want to in the parks with lower crowds. So plan to head over a little after opening to avoid that rush of other guests arriving early. Hollywood Studios is the only park we might suggest going to as soon as it opens. That's if you want more chances to get in the virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance. But remember, they open passes at 2 p.m. as well as 10 a.m. when the park opens, so you do have another chance to get a spot in line even if you don't show up for rope drop. So there are 7 huge updates to a typical Disney day right now that's going to change your next Disney trip if you're headed there in 2020. Also, remember, any of this can change at any time. Disney's been throwing us a lot of curveballs, and they're still trying to figure out what the best approach to this whole thing is. So right now, the way things are structured is working pretty well, I think, but we still may see some changes. And again, if case numbers go down and if things get a little bit better, then we may see some more updates with things changing a little bit more. So stay tuned to DFB. We've got amazing reporters who are in the parks regularly, checking things out for us, making sure we have all the latest updates for you. So stay tuned here at DFB. If you are not subscribed to the channel, this is a great time to subscribe to the channel because things are changing pretty regularly, and we make sure to get you all the latest updates and all the latest news here on DFB Guide. Thank you guys for listening, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.